Our lineage root Guru's Holiness Living Buddha Lien Sheng to bestow the precious Dharma teachings. First, let's pay homage to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming. Homage to Master Sakya Zeng Kong. Homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa. And homage to Master Tupten Darji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. And homage to the Yidam of today's Dharma teaching, the medicine Tathagata of the eastern realm of Lapis Lazuli, the supreme medicine Bodhisattva, medicine king Bodhisattva, the sunlight all radiance Bodhisattva, and the moonlight all radiance Bodhisattva, and homage to the 12 medicine generals. Homage to medicine Tathagatas, all members of his retinue. Sumu, Danchen Katso, Tuten Siddhi, all Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, directors of temples, and all disciples. Good evening, everyone. How do you do? Aisteru, Sarange.
Hola amigo.
Hola amigo.
Te quiero mucho.
Te quiero mucho.
Sugoi.
Sugoi.
Ichiban.
Kimochi. Kimochi.
Jumi.
Jumi.
Yapi.
Yapi.
Bling bling.
Bling bling.
Konbanwa. 大家晚安。各地的。
Konbanwa. Good evening, everyone. Because it's different time everywhere, so there's good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. So, at the beginning, let me share a joke first. One day, Xiaoming so black tea, green tea, and jasmine tea, all put it into a glass bottle, and then he rode a motorcycle, and he got stopped and inspected by police. And the police asked, "What's the liquid inside the bottle?" And he took down his face mask, and he said, "It's 10 flavor tea." But in Chinese, it's a play of words which also sound like dead policeman. Actually, because his tea is called like the 10 flavor tea. It's a combination of many tea.
再有一个笑话是这样子。
And another joke.
有一位20岁的辣妹。
There's a 20-year-old hot girl driving and also got stopped.
立刻主动问交通检查。
And immediately she asked the police officer,
酒精消毒算不算酒驾？
oh, so if I use the alcohol,
用酒精
because I was injured, I use alcohol to disinfect myself. Is that drunk driving?
这个不是不算酒驾。
And the police officer replied confidently, no.
需要帮忙吗？
Which part of you is injured? Do you need help? And the hot girl replied, my heart was injured, so I use alcohol to disinfect myself.
这个不算冤枉啊。 然后第三个笑话是这样子。
And the third joke.
一位男士去办手机的申请。
A man was applying for a cell phone.
两种证件。柜台小姐一
And he took two ID
名栏
and look at it.
叫做姓高名赛，叫做高赛。
His name is Gao Sai. It's also play of word of
瞄了那个
Chinese.
男士一眼，
So she
不好意思
glanced at
低
him
下头。
and he was
这时候
embarrassed
这个小姐立刻
and
缓
looked
和
down
了彼此的尴尬。
and she's just trying
我
to
先生呢跟你
to be
同
kind, and
但
she
不
said,
姓
uh,
我先生姓贾。
my husband has the same name but different family name, so his name is Jia Sai.
那就是贾。
In Chinese, it's like eating shit.
一个高赛，一个是假赛啊，大家笑笑，开心。
Just laughing.
我们今天呢是进行你问我答。
So today we will continue with the question and answer.
请问师尊，
Okay,
什么
Master,
是熟地智慧？
what is the wisdom of the mundane truth,
地智慧
and what is the wisdom of the ultimate truth?
这个我们密教里面有分成
In Tantrayana,
升起次第。
Tantrayana is divided into the development stage and the perfection stage.
这样子讲，
So we can say
娑婆世界
that in samsara or the saha world,
熟地
it's divided into the mundane or the worldly
那么也讲了，
and
也就是说，四十地属于娑婆世界的人间，
the mundane or the worldly belongs to the sentient beings or human world,
就叫
and
地。
the
我
ultimate
们通常这样子
ground
分的了。
is the inner
什么叫熟
wisdom
地的
or
智慧
light.
呢？
So what is the wisdom of the mundane
人间的
truth?
智慧
Is the wisdom of the human
比
world.
如我们从
For example,
kindergarten
from kindergarten
一直到了 university，
all the way to the university,
再来就是那个master
and then master's degree, and then doctorate.
那么这个过程呢，从 kindergarten
This
到了 high school
process or journey from kindergarten to high school to university to master's degree to doctorate, the study is the wisdom of the mundane truth.
那么什么叫真谛的智慧呢？
And what is the wisdom of the ultimate truth?
就是阿罗汉。
That's arhatship, pratek
另外
Sravakahood,
这个菩提萨埵跟布拉，
Prateka Buddhahood, Bodhisattvahood, and Buddhahood.
从阿罗汉
So from arhats to solitary hearers
然后到菩萨、到佛，
and bodhisattva, and then to Buddha. The wisdom for this attainments is called the wisdom of the ultimate
所以
truth.
谛智慧是从 kindergarten 到 doctor。 真谛智
So
慧
the
是
wisdom
从阿罗汉
of the mundane truth is from kindergarten to doctorate, and the wisdom of the ultimate truth is from arhat to the Buddhahood.
智慧就叫真谛智慧。
So that's called the wisdom of the ultimate truth.
入世，入世就是入世的智慧。什么叫做出世的智慧？
The wisdom, the worldly wisdom and the out-of-worldly wisdom.
智慧
So the worldly wisdom is the wisdom of the mundane truth,
真谛智慧。
and the out-of-worldly or the enlightenment truth is the wisdom of the ultimate truth. That's for the first question.
请问师尊，
Grandmaster,
了几个问题，
I have several questions about smoke offerings.
可以用灌顶、烟供跟沐浴。
Recently, Grandmaster taught us that we can employ empowerment, smoke offering,
这个烟
and
供
purifying bath to eliminate obstacles to our Dhamma practice.
还是
Is the smoke offering to be addressed to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas or to the karmic creditors?
我告诉你，这个问题问得很好。
This is a very good question.
有人以为修烟供是供佛菩萨，有人以为修烟供是供冤亲债。
Some people thought smoke offering is for the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and some people thought it's to the karmic creditors.
他是有提到，
I remember my guru said about the smoke offering.
同这个香的供养，譬如我们
Smoke offering is like an offering of incense.
你香呢，
Or when we lit incense, we can offer the incense to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And the incense can also use to worship the ancestors. So if you use high quality ingredients
很多的香集合起来，
like the Nongyan incense that uses very precious ingredients, and you lit it in the smoke offering that can be offered to the Buddhas and
但是你
Bodhisattvas.
只要供冤亲债主的，就
And
是说你本身
if you
有障碍
want to,
你要
if you
消除
have
这些障碍，
obstacles or hindrances and you want to eliminate them,
坛城面前
you want to offer to your karmic creditors, you don't offer it in your altar, but you have to move
也
to
就是在
your
室外，
balconies or
你能够有室外，
or
你就在
deck
室外
outdoors.
修烟供法。那没有室
So
外，
if you have
在阳
access
台上
to the outdoors, then you should do the smoke offering outdoors. If not, you can do it on the deck. So the smoke offering can be offered to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas using the highest quality ingredients. If you use ordinary ingredients, it can be offered to the karmic creditors. And in the smoke offering incense, it includes clothes, food, things to live, and transportation. They all melted into it. And then you visualize it to become things that we use, eat, that we live in, and that we transport. So smoke offering can be used for the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas as well as to the karmic creditors. In the main practice of the smoke offering, do we chant Om Ah Hum and Rang Yang Kang one after another 21 times? So, Om Ah Hum. Om is the universe. The expansive Dharma realm is in Om. And Ah, it becomes one. From the Dharma realm, it transforms into one. And Hum, according to my guru, the character or syllable Hum represents all sentient beings. So all sentient beings are Hum syllable. Master Thupten Torji told me. So Hum came from the Dharma realm, from Om to Ah to Hum. Om is great, Ah is medium, Hum is small. Dharma realm, Yidam, and sentient beings. So Om Ah Hum. There are many meanings to Om Ah Hum. This is just one of them. Dharma realm, Yidam, and sentient beings. That's Om Ah Hum. And what are the Rang, Yang, and Kang? Rang is the fire. Yang is the wind. And Kang, it's emptiness. Rang, Yang, Kang. The fire rises, the wind blows, and it becomes the empty space. That's transformation. Fire, wind, and space. According to the procedure that you should follow the procedure. If it asks you to chant Om Am Hum Rang Yang Kang together, then you should follow. If it is taught that way in the procedure, then you follow it. Or do we chant them separately? We chant Om Ah Hum 21 times first, and then visualize the offerings to fill the cosmic space, and then chant Lang Yang Kang 21 times, and visualize the offerings to become smoke to offer to our attached spirits. So the second question is, should we chant them together or separately? I think we can chant Om Ahom 21 times first and visualize the offerings fill the cosmic space, and then chant Rang Yang Kang 21 times and visualize all the offerings to transform into smoke. That's my opinion. You chant Om Ahom 21 times first, visualize the offerings to fill the cosmic space, and then chant Rang Yang Kang 21 times and visualize the offerings to become smoke. Because it has meanings. Rang Yang Kang, the fire, the wind that transform into the smoke. And Om Ahom, you can fill the whole cosmic space. Dharma realm, Yidam, and sentient beings. So transform all the offerings to be like ocean of clouds. That's the meaning. So the second one should be the correct way. The next question, Grandmaster Amitabha. What are the qualifications and methods to soul travel on one's free will? Let me tell you. First, you should open the hole at your apex or tip of your crown. That's the first requirement. You should have your apex open in order for you, for your soul to leave your body. You know, sometimes you think that you have leave your body because my soul goes to a very far away places. Actually, that's not the case. Your soul is inside your body. It's just traveling around in your body, and you just thought that you are doing soul travel. It's impossible. You have to open your apex first. That's the first requirement for soul travel. Otherwise, your soul is just moving, and maybe it moves to your eye, and you think that you go to the ocean, and you go to the ear, and you think that you are in the zoo, that you see an elephant, and your soul travels to your mouth, and you see lots of little fish, lots of things. And your soul just travels to your nose, and you think that you climb the mountain. Actually, your soul was just inside your body moving about. And it goes to the secret chakra, and you think that you have gone to hell. So the first requirement is to do your Dharma practice, the Powa practice, which is the opening of the apex. That's the first requirement. And second, when your soul leaves your body, And when your qi push your soul out of the body, there would be a thread that follows your soul, that a silver color thread. So if you want to come home, come back, then this thread is the one that gets you back. However, by accident, if this thread is cut off or broken, then you cannot come back. And then what will happen? No big deal. That the next morning, your family will find you dead. Stop breathing. What was that called? The modern term. It's like game over. So it's very dangerous to soul travel. So typically we say, if you don't cultivate spiritually before your soul is in union with your yidam, please don't let your soul leave your body. You can only do the soul travel if your soul can be in union with your root guru, yidam, and protector, because then you would be protected. Only if you're protected by your root guru, yidam, and protector, you can do the soul travel. Otherwise, you would feel really tired. You wouldn't be able to get out of bed the next morning. If that thread is broken, then you would definitely gone. You're game over. Or sudden death. That's what I was going to say. Like sudden death. So if your soul leaves the body, but you are not accompanied by your root guru, yidam, and protector, and your soul encounters the powerful king of ghosts, and you would be caught and you would be enslaved as a ghost slave. So after you open your apex, you visualize the yidam is standing on top of your apex. Typically his feet or her feet is at covering your hole, so you don't leave your body easily. So that's extremely dangerous. I cannot tell you how to do the soul travel. Otherwise, the disciples would do it whatever they want, whenever they like. Then some would die, some would get hurt, and Grandmaster has to do bardo deliverance for you, here and there. There's a man in the nightclub meeting a beautiful lady, and they had a very nice chat. And the man wants to court this lady and said, I like to service beautiful lady. Whatever your request, I will fulfill it for you tonight. And this beautiful lady took a key and asked, are you sure? And the man said, guaranteed you to be satisfied. And she said, she gave him the key and said, please clean my house. So what I meant, please don't take advantage of other people. It's not a play game to do soul travel. If your soul leaves your body and you're caught by the powerful king of ghosts, then you will always be his maid, cleaning up his room. You would become the ghost slave. I cannot tell you how to do it. And our last soul travel would be to the Pure Land and to the Buddha land. It's not a funny thing. It's not for fun. Grandmaster, in your book, The Tantric Buddhism Profound Meaning, was talking about after you see the light of the emptiness of the light drops, you continue to practice, and then what will appear next is the Vajra chain. That's like the chains of poles at the tails of a horse. So I know that the light drops is like a drop of light, and then the accumulation of the light drops is the Vajra chain. My question is, if after practicing for a long time, I still have no ways to see the light of the light drops, is there any other ways to see it or to prove it in the dreams or any other comparison? So seeing the light of the emptiness of the light drops is like seeing the prajna light. And then if you chain together the prajna lights, that would become Vajra chain. And then when you combine all the Vajra chain to become a screen, that would be a Vajra screen. And inside the Vajra screen, you would be able to see a yidam, a deity appearing in the screen, in the Vajra screen. And you would be able to see the yidam's mandala or altar, and the yidam inside the Vajra screen. So it's a chain here. The light drops light, Vajra chain, Vajra screen, yidam, mandala. This is the step-by-step appearance. This is very important. When I went to Dharamsala in India, in my meeting with Dalai Lama, we discussed the light of the light drops, the Vajra chain, the Vajra screen, yidam, and a mandala. This is the topic that Dalai Lama and I discussed. And the question that you ask is what Dalai Lama and I discuss. If you see the light of the light drops, but you have not seen it yet, let me tell you, if you have attainment in your inner fire practice, because the inner fire or tumo is light. If you have succeeded in your inner fire practice and it's ignited and rises all the way to the crown. And here there's body chakra, which is the source of light drops. And then the throat chakra light drops, heart chakra light drops, navel chakra light drops, secret chakra light drops. And when the light drops rises and the light of the light drops touches the light drops, the light of the inner fire touches the light drops to melt the light drops. And when the light drops and inner fire merges together, you can generate light. So how do you see the light of the lucid clarity light of the light drops? Is to rise the inner fire, to make it rises, to touch the light drops, to melt the light drops, and to merge the inner fire and the light drops. Then you would be able to see the lucid light of the light drops, and you would be able to see it with your eyes closed or open. Or you could see it in your meditation, or you see it in your dreams. As long as your inner fire has been ignited and you have melted the light drops, and when the light drops and inner fire merge, then you would be able to see the lights of the light drops. That's the pith teaching of this. When Xiaoming was lining up at the grocery, a woman farted in front of him, and he got really upset. Before he said anything, that woman turned around and told him, if you heard it, that meant you didn't maintain your social distancing. If you smelled it, that meant that your face mask is not qualified, it's not good enough. So that's what the woman said. So that woman was very smart. So when Xiaoming heard her fart, that meant that the distance was too close. And if you smelled the fart, that meant that the face mask that he wore was not good enough. So that's the situation in the pandemic. Everybody's wearing face masks, right? So you would not be able to smell it, and we are maintaining social distancing. And here Liang is wearing face mask. Dexter is wearing face mask. Master Lian Wang is wearing face mask. So if I fart here, nobody can hear. Nobody can smell it. So if you want to see the lucid light of the light drop, there's several requirements. It's not that you want to see it and then you see it. You have to ignite your inner fire first, and to melt your light drops, and then to assimilate the two. And then when you close your eyes, then there would be many drops, many lights appearing. There are red ones, blue ones, white ones, all combined together forming a Vajra screen. Sometimes it's round. They're very fine and very dense. And then the yidam will appear right in front of you. Wouldn't that be marvelous? So you have to be able to smell it. You want to hear it. You want to take down your face mask. And you need to be really close. So that's the theory. Okay? Now I taught you already. The next question, homage to the lineage Guru Solon Buddha Lien Sheng. I would like to ask, I have practiced Vajrasattva for 1 year, and on the New Year's Day, I dreamt of Vajrasattva radiating light to bless me and my home. So now, can I practice the Root Guru Yoga, or should I continue the Vajrasattva practice? So the fact that you were able to dream of Vajrasattva radiating light to bless you and your home, that's congratulations. Excellent. So whether to practice Root Guru Yoga or Vajrasattva, let me tell you, for Grandmaster, that Padma Kumara is Vajrasattva. I have told you, Adharma Buddha is the first Vajradhara, or Vajra holder, and the 5 Dhyani Buddhas are the second Vajra holder. If they are individually, there will be the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th Vajra holders. And Vajrasattva would be the 7th Vajra holder. And Grandmaster is the 8th Vajra holder. So how do you practice? Now, you can practice Root Guru. You can practice the union of your Root Guru and Vajrasattva, because the Root Guru can merge into Vajrasattva, and Vajrasattva can merge into the Root Guru. And you can do the practice together, which is the Root Guru deity and Vajrasattva combined when you do your practice. The key here is you first visualize Vajrasattva sitting on top of your head. You visualize your Root Guru entering into Vajrasattva. And then Vajrasattva enters into your heart, which is the Root Guru and Vajrasattva's union enters into your heart. And you chant the 2 mantras, Grandmaster's mantra, which is the Root Guru mantra, and Vajrasattva's mantra. You chant them both. That's the combined practice. You enter into Vajrasattva. When you become Vajrasattva, the Root Guru is there too. They're all inside your heart. So you are the Root Guru and you are also Vajrasattva. So this is the deity yoga for Root Guru and Vajrasattva combined. On the first day in school, Xiaoming cried in class, and the teacher asked him, Xiaoming, why did you cry? And Xiaoming replied, I don't like it here. But from now on, I have to come here every day until I'm 12. And the teacher said, I'm even worse than you. I have to come here every day until I'm 60. So we want to congratulate this Dharma, this fellow disciple, that Vajrasattva appeared in your dream to bless you and your home. That's extremely marvelous. And you practice the Rudguru Deity Yoga and Vajrasattva combined. Then you can graduate from the school. You can graduate from this school. Then you would gain spiritual union. Because in your dreams Dharma realm, you already gain spiritual response. And that in the human world you can also gain spiritual response. And eventually you will gain spiritual response in the Dharma realm too, and you will definitely be able to graduate and have attainments. You know, spiritual cultivation sometimes takes a long time. Some rather short. But actually we have to cultivate spiritually till old age. Till at the end that your Buddha nature merge into the Buddha ocean, that the child light assimilate with the mother's light, and when they are in union, you would have the fruition or attainments or the Buddhahood. This is the last question. For my question is for a newly or for a disciple that just took refuge, can they, after someone is taking refuge, can they practice the 4 preliminary practice and the Rudguru Deity Yoga right away, or do they have to receive their empowerments, the empowerment for each of them, for the preliminary practice and the for Rudguru Deity Yoga? This is asked by someone from Melbourne in Australia. We have a temple there, Yen Ming, and in Sydney we have a Yen San temple. They're both in Australia, and we have many chapters there too. Like in Perth we have the Yen Tze chapter and many other chapters. So the question, when we just entered the door and took refuge, Grandmaster would allow you to practice the 4 preliminary practices or the 6 preliminary practices. And what are they? You never heard of it before. That includes the Rudguru Deity Yoga, the Protector Deity Yoga, and the 4 preliminary practice. So that becomes the 6 preliminary practices. So you started with the 4 preliminary practices. That's the fundamentals. In some Buddhist sects, they confer the refuge initiation but they require empowerment for the great prostration, for the great offering, for the fourfold refuge, and then for the Vajrasattva repentance practice. You know why they want so many empowerments? Because then they can receive more red pockets. But for Grandmaster, as soon as you receive the refuge initiation empowerment, you can perform all the 4 preliminary practices, and then you need another empowerment for the root guru deity yoga and for the protector deity yoga. That would be better. I never set a price for any empowerments. If it had been in Tibetan Tantrayana in Tibet, they set a price for it. Or any other masters, any other gurus, they have set prices. And they have their reasonings too, because they regard the Dharma as extremely precious. If you don't show it with money, how can I give you the Dharma? Because the Dharma is priceless. Each Dharma is extremely expensive. That shows that you're respecting the Dharma. So they have their own reasonings, but Grandmaster is more empathetic toward my disciples because they are not rich. And in order for the Tantric Buddha Dharma to reach widely, everything is voluntary. So by receiving just the refuge, just by receiving the empowerment for the refuge initiation, you can do the 4 preliminary practices. But then for the rest you need empowerments for the root guru, protector, for the practice of the channels, light drops and inner fire, the inner practices, the highest yoga tantra and the great perfection. They all you have to receive empowerments. So you have to go step by step, but everything is voluntary. Now it's 50 minutes already for the question and answer. Now we'll talk about the 2 action paths of Lamdre. They include the 5 paths and the 37 body divisions. So what's written here is similar to the sutra. First is the merit accumulation path, and then preliminary path, and then seeing the path, and then practicing the path. And lastly is the path of leaving the worldly paths, which is the ultimate path. So this is also step by step. It's a gradual levels. First you take refuge, fourfold refuge, and then the root guru deity yoga, and then the protector deity yoga, and then the yidam deity yoga, and then the inner tantric practices, highest yoga tantra, the heruka practices, the great perfection practices, responses, spiritual responses for all these practices. So merit accumulation path is very simple. You do good to prepare all your merits because you are embarking on the journey. So for the first, the merit accumulation path is never do any evils, always do good. And then the preliminary path is the very beginning of the tantric practices.
然后见到什么是见到？
And then seeing the path, what is that? After you practice the preliminary paths for a long time, then you gain enlightenment. That's seeing the path.
悟后起修，
And after you gain enlightenment, you started the real practice. That's practicing the path.
出世间道，
And after that,
是究竟道，
it's the
要
path
成就阿罗汉，
of
沿接
out of worldly path or leaving the mundane
菩萨
path.
佛这些最
So
高的
to
境
have
界
the attainments of arhatships, pratika Buddhahood, bodhisattvahood, and Buddhahood.
那么先教是如苏地之道，分二气行轨，依教门
And this is the instruction on the two action paths, which are divided into two paths of interest. The 5 paths according to the Dharma Gate teaching, and the paths like the 37 body divisions.
五道跟37
So
分，
the two action paths are the 5 paths and the 37 body divisions.
因菩提分依属于波罗
These
蜜
two
圣
paths are
五道
assimilated into one interest because the body divisions also belong to the paramita vehicle of the 5 paths.
也就是修行道。
So that's the cultivation path, the same as spiritual cultivation path. Because the two can be combined, they are all spiritual
在波
cultivation.
罗蜜圣就是大圣的五道。
So in the body divisions, the paramita vehicle is one of the 5 paths.
所谓的行五道跟37菩提分，
So the 5 paths and the 37 body divisions are both spiritual cultivations,
所以可以讲是一种。
and they belong to the paramita vehicle of the 5 paths. So we can say that it is actually just one. So 2 is the same as 1. There's
这
no
是次第的问
no
题
different. It is a different stage. That's all. 这个，这是一个女人对女人所讲的话。 A woman
对女人所讲的
spoke to another woman. The words of between women.
还在寻找永远吗？
Are you still striving or seeking eternity? What is
最后
eternal
你连大姨
love?
妈都会在你老了之后离你而去，何况是男人？
At the end,
女人对女人讲的话，
even
还在寻找
how
吗？相
are you still looking for eternity? How could what is eternal? Nothing is eternal.
会在你老了之后
That when you're old, that even your period will leave you. Moreover, man,
这
basically
世界
man.
上天长地久的只有一种。
In this world, the only thing that is eternal
你
is
跟
one
佛
thing,
菩萨合一，
is when you are in union with the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas.
你的佛性跟佛海
That your
合
Buddha
而为一
nature
的时候，那
is
个才
in
叫天长
is
地久。
assimilated with the Buddha
而
ocean.
爱情的
Then
事情
only that is
不要梦想
eternal.
海枯石烂，
So about romantic love,
上面久
or
到
never fantasize that it
上面
is
海醉
it will be eternal.
那拢是梦啊，
That's us all in the comics.
漫画，漫画
Those are just fantasy.
就是从外来漫啊，日本话就是漫啊，就是卡通。
Manga in Japanese is like comics.
天底下没有天长地久的事，
Nothing is eternal in the human world or under the
什么
heavens.
2020
It's 2020520. It's a play of Chinese words. I love you, I love you, love you, love you, I love you forever. When you're old, you're just accustomed to each other. You live together. A couple don't get divorced or don't separate. It's not because it's eternal love, but it's just a custom. I am accustomed to you and you are accustomed to me. Seriously speaking, saying about like that I love you forever even when the ocean dry up and heaven falls down. Love, that's a joke, but love does exist. But I cannot say a little bit, I cannot say a lot. I cannot say it's forever. It is for the moment. It's just in the moment. But romantic love does exist. I've seen lots of romances. When they get married, even against the approval of both families, and they eloped, both the man and woman, and then now they're divorced. So when you eloped, romantic love did exist, right? Because you really fell in love, that's why you eloped. Happy to die. You're so happy that you eloped, and then afterwards divorced. But when they were eloping, of course there was love. But when they get divorced, was there love? No. The only thing that can last forever is when we're in the heavenly realms. Last Sunday, I decided to clean up the house. I took my mops and brooms and getting ready to clean. And all of a sudden, I thought about what the sixth patriarch Hui-Neng said. That originally there was nothing. So how could there dust? So because of that, I just took a shower and get in bed. So she was applying a Buddha Dharma into cleaning up the house. You know, the Dharma of the Hui-Neng, the sixth patriarch of Zen Buddhism, is the sudden enlightenment. Immediately you recognize the Buddha nature, and after you recognize it, you appear it, you make it appear and confirm it. That's the sudden enlightenment Dharma of the sixth patriarch Hui-Neng. But the seventh patriarch, which actually doesn't exist. Well, I was talking about the great master Shen Ching. We could say he's also one of the guru in Zen Buddhism, and he practiced the gradual enlightenment Dharma. And what was that? Which is step-by-step cultivation. It did not direct. It's not direct pointing to the Buddha nature. So for the Master Shen Xiu, is you always have to clean up your whole body. You purify your eyes, your ears, your nose, your mouth, and all over your body. Gradually, you practice the eyes, ear, nose, tongue, mouth, body, and mind. Gradually purify, and until eventually, ultimately, the Buddha nature appears. So he is considered the North Zen Buddhism, and Huineng is the South Zen Buddhism. So Shen Xiu in the north is gradual enlightenment Dharma, and Huineng in the south is the sudden enlightenment Dharma. Both are Buddha Dharma. So if you cannot be like those with great spiritual root to appear your Buddha nature suddenly or immediately, then you should practice your purification practices the best you can. Now you understand. That's all for today. Om Mani Padme Hum.